Welcome YouTubers, welcome back to the fourth part of our distance hack series with Sam and Jeremy here. This video we're going to be working on grip and grip techniques to make your control over the disc better and potentially add more distance to your game. Thanks for joining us. So in the first part of this video here, we're going to talk about a little grip trick that I like to do just for the very beginners of the game on how to grab the disc. A lot of beginners, when they go to grab a disc or when you hand them the disc, they just kind of grab it right away and right in the middle of the disc, and that's how they end up throwing it, just like that. We want to add a little trick here to maybe get them to grip the disc the right way. So what we like to do is we take our pointer finger and our thumb, and we kind of like to pinch the rim like so, kind of with the rim in that crease, first crease of your pointer finger. And you just roll your hand down the side and let these fingers kind of lay into place. Everybody's hand is different. Everyone's unique. There is little motions you can make to make it more comfortable. You have to go out in the field and try them all out to see which one works for you. But this is one little trick that we like to do that helps us with our grip. So like I said, everybody's hand is a little different, but there are a few ways that aren't really correct and they're actually going to take away some distance on your throws. So over the years we've seen many different styles, so let's get into a couple of them here and see how they fly. So the first example we had there of Sam was the finger off the front of the rim style. This may feel a lot more comfortable to some people, but what it does is it takes away spin on your disc and creates a lot more of a fan grip, which is useful in some shots, but you don't create that spin on the disc without that pinch that we were talking about earlier.
One thing I noticed when throwing with my finger out and not pinched in, kind of like what he was saying where you pinch it in and roll back, if you have your finger out, I couldn't get a lot of RPMs on the disc. And one thing that is heavily involved with throwing farther is having RPMs. It's got to have some kind of that gyro spin action to it to make it do its thing.
The second mistake comes from a lot of newer players. You probably see it a lot more often. When you hand a new player a disc, when they grab the disc, they grab it like so, right in the middle, they hold it up, and they're ready to rock. Well, you're not going to be able to create any spin that way. So like we said, with that first drill, we like that pinch and roll. And what that does is it allows us to grab the right side of the disc. I like to tell that to a lot of newer players. It makes them get a little more around the disc to create a lot more spin rather than pulling from the center and creating no spin and just kind of using pure arm strength to create whatever distance they can get with no spin.
So that was extremely awkward. And I say that a little bit in jest, but in reality, when you're new and you're grabbing from like the back of the disc, it sets your angle of your wrist a little funny. And check out last week's video talking about wrist angle, but this kind of goes into it as well, where I can't get the nose down easily. And a lot of times the wrist is kind of cocked this way a little bit too much, which caused the nose to go up, and I couldn't get a very good shot. I was missing RPMs, and it was also missing the right angle. So that had everything to do with the grip just being wrong.
So now let's try our new technique as we pinch and roll down and see how that helps us throw the disc a little better. Now, as you can see, that went way further and a lot better momentum on the disc, a lot more spin on the disc, and this is with everything else in the form correct. This is with Sam, who throws the disc really well, and these were throwing the disc bad with just the bad grip, and then we just fixed the grip, and you can see the difference in the throw there.
All right, so that's our work in the field. We're about to go back into the podcast room to get a little bit more in depth into grip. So if you're enjoying our content as much as we're enjoying doing it for you, like, subscribe, and leave a comment, and you never know, we might have another giveaway at the end of this video. All right, here we are back in the podcast room, and we are gonna get into more detail when it comes to grip. I know Jer has an exercise that you can do at home, not even having to go out to the field, and kind of get an idea of what he was talking about as far as how your grip can affect the flight of the disc.
Yeah, so ideally I have one disc cut right in half, right down the parting line. I don't have the technology to make that happen, so this is a drill at home that you can still do. I take two drivers, similar style, and I put them together. If I have too much thumb, like in this video here, you can see that I have more of a top disc action, and it's putting more pressure on the thumb, creating more force on the top side of the disc. Where when I move my fingers or my thumb to more the edge of the disc, it's pulling more of the bottom of the disc, creating that more of a pull action rather than spinning to create spin, if that makes sense. That's just how I've always kind of looked at it, and it's something that I think about when I'm throwing that helps me get a little more distance and get a little more on center with the disc. When my grip's right, both the bottom and top discs stay together really well, and I take a few practice swings just like that.
I feel like this plays into what you said when we were in the field about kind of just a general good pinch and roll, so you're in the a good pinch zone, so to say. Mm-hmm. And for your normal throw, your everyday throw off the tee, that's going to be what you want. But it's interesting how if you move the thumb around or adjust your grip a little bit, you can put a different shape on the disc. And I think that's a big use to go out into the field and mess with different thumb placements.
So this is showing Sam, and he's going to throw some here with a little bit more of a thumb in action on purpose to create a little bit different flights on it. So let's see him take a throw here. Again, with that thumb in, creating a nose up, spiky hyzer angle with the disc that we use quite often, that we do on purpose to create a little bit more different flight.
So as you can see, I'll stop right here, right at the point of releasing, right when I'm following through, and you can see that I'm throwing it on a really deep hyzer. And I'm actually doing this with a more understable disc, funny enough, because that I've found gets a really interesting flight when you throw it on a deep hyzer with your thumb inside to kind of push that nose up in a way. And what that does as we let the flight continue is it has a little bit of flip up, but at the end it still gets, even for an understable disc, that skip at the end, really forcing the issue and getting the disc to be here compared to here, which is going to knife a little bit more and not get that kind of skip that you saw there.
So that was hyzer. Now we're going to look at what he does on an Anhyzer to give him a little tip and trick there to get him to get a little smoother flight on an Anhyzer shot.
So as you can see in this video, I'm holding the disc out and then I'm kind of letting the back end of the disc drop. As you can see, it starts out flat and I let the bottom end drop, and I'll do that a couple more times in this video. We'll hold it right here while the disc is dropped out of the bottom, and when I say that is when I'm here. What this does on a Anhyzer throw is it allows me to control the angle of the disc more with the grip than with my putting a ton of body English on the throw. And so let's see how this throw develops with changing the nose angle with my grip. All right, we're gonna stop right after the release point, and with the follow through, As you can see, when we put it side by side with the hyzer throw, there is definitely a difference in body English. Hyzer, I'm following through on the hyzer line. On the turnover shot, I'm following through on the turnover. But what's nice is if we watch the whole video, the whole flight through.
It has a nice glidey finish and wanting to turn out and fade a little bit as it's drifting still.
Yeah, and that's with a somewhat stable disc. That's with the feedback, which is 9.5 minus 1.3, so it has some stability. What changing the nose angle really does, because the disc isn't flippy, is it allows me to throw a neutral to somewhat overstable disc on turnover and have it actually follow that turnover line as it's fighting out. And that allows for a different shaped flight than throwing a flippy disc kind of flat and letting it turn over because of the physics of the disc.
So those are two little more advanced style grips on the disc that you can create a little different flights on your disc. If you like this video, again, please like and subscribe, and also pick light blue or orange. We got a Kale LaVisca Shadowfax and Kevin Jones Feedback, both great discs. Which one would you like, light blue or the orange one? With your Instagram handle, let us know, and thanks for watching.